All right, so we're on page 196. I'm still waiting for some of you guys to do your projects. I only got projects. Which is really good, and Samuel's. The first one was good. I haven't seen the second one yet. Something in my eye about it. But we're gonna get started on chapter 6. We're gonna learn about mammals. Mammals are more fun to learn about than anything else. So we're going to get started on that. Okay. Move this over here. Introduction to mammals. Key concepts, characteristics of mammals. What are the characteristics of mammals?
Mr. Naranjo.
Yes, Caleb?
And the chapter check up 5.05 of chapter 5. Okay.
Okay. Marsupials, oviparous mammals. Those are what we're going to learn about in this chapter. Okay. Introduction to mammals. God created plants to remain in one place and to be producers or organisms that make their own food. In contrast, he created animals in almost the opposite way. Animals are multicellular organisms, so they have more than one cell, that can move and are consumers, which means they do not make their own food. Movement is probably the most notable characteristic of animals. Although a few animals like sponges spend much of their life attached to a surface, these animals still have motion. Instead of moving themselves, they move. I'm sorry, one sec. There's Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Although a few animals like sponges spend much of their life attached to surfaces, these animals.
Hello,
Hi, bud. These animals still have motion. Instead of moving themselves, they move the environment around them. Movement is essential to animals' survival as consumers. Since animals cannot produce their own food, they must either move to where the food is or bring the food to themselves. By their body structure, animals are separated into two main groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates are animals with a backbone, and all invertebrates have an internal skeleton or endoskeleton. So are we vertebrates or invertebrates? Because we're mammals, so we are vertebrates or invertebrates?
Vertebrates.
Vertebrates, because we have a backbone. And the endoskeleton, made of bone or cartilage, complex body systems, organs, and tissues, and bilateral symmetry, which means they have the same, like, because I have one ear here, one ear like that, it matches. Although vertebrates make up less than 1/10 of the entire animal population, they are the animals that we are most familiar with: mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians. The vertebrates were traditionally classified in phylum Vertebra, but they are now classified in phylum Chordata, which includes a few invertebrates that possess structures similar to backbones. Most animals are invertebrates, animals without a backbone. There is a wide assortment of invertebrates, including insects, worms, snails, starfish, and sponges. Because of the great variety of invertebrates, they are classified in many different phyla. We will study some of this variety in later chapters. Furry friends. Have you ever seen a cheetah running at 100 kilometers per hour, or a bat flying and diving through the air to catch its dinner? Perhaps you have gone to an aquarium and seen dolphins or whales. Maybe you have seen a pet dog or cat for which they are responsible. Although all these animals live in various environments and move in different ways, they all have characteristics that place them in the vertebrate class, Mammalia. These characteristics include an ability to regulate their body temperature internally, an endoskeleton, mammary glands, hair, a four-chambered heart, and a respiratory system with lungs and a diaphragm. So those are all thanks, Rick. Those are all characteristics of a mammal, what we're known as. So they can regulate their body temperature internally. They have an endoskeleton, or at least some do, mammary glands, hair, a four-chambered heart, and a respiratory system with lungs and a diaphragm. We'll learn more about that later. Okay, Class Mammalia is actually makes up a very small portion of the animal kingdom, yet it is the group of animals which we are the most familiar. This is probably because mammals appear to be the most intelligent of God's creatures. So we enjoy watching them at play, teaching them to do tricks, or using them to assist in accomplishing work. So this is the size of a blue whale. It's huge.
Oh my God.
Well, it's probably not that big compared to an elephant. But it's big, okay? But look at that little bat right there. That's about the size of his foot. And then we have, look at the horse compared to the elephant. The car compared to the elephant. That's scary, man. Those are huge. That's coming after you. I'd be terrified. Diverse design. All land-dwelling mammals were created on the 6th day of creation. But aquatic mammals like whales and manatees were created on day 5. God gave mammals the ability to control their body temperature. Since this ability allows them to survive in many different places, mammals are found from the African deserts to the Arctic Circle. God has also given mammals tremendous size variation. The Kitti's hog-nosed bat has the distinction of it being the smallest animal by overall body size. It is about 3 centimeters long, which is like this big, and weighs less than a dime, which is like the little coin that's like that big. The blue whale is the largest mammal and the largest animal that has ever existed. The 33 meter blue whale weighs over 180,000 kilograms, which is 175 tons. And then this one right here, it says, one scientist estimated that the aorta, the part of the heart of the blue whale, has a 23 centimeter or 9-inch diameter, large enough that a small dog could run through it. So it means it's this, if you were to cut it in half or slice it, you could go through it. Or a small dog could go through it, not you. But it's big, it's huge. These whales are huge. Studying mammals provides an appreciation for the incredible complexity of design in God's creation. We see evidences of our Creator as we study these incredible animals. And we're going to talk more about the characteristics of mammals, things that we have, okay? Previously, you learned about the way scientists classify the different animals. Animals found in class Mammalia have several characteristics that set them apart as a uniquely created group. Warming up. Mammals do not rely on their surroundings to determine their body temperature. Can you guys think of an animal that relies on its surroundings, like it depends on the sun for its temperature?
The scorpion, I think, that is one.
I don't know about a scorpion.
Fish. The kangaroo.
Not a fish, not a kangaroo. I can think of 2 specific ones. They usually stand out in the sun to warm up.
The snakes.
Snake, very good. The snake is one that depends on the sun. Okay, we don't have to do that. We can regulate or keep the same body temperature. Instead, they are warm-blooded, meaning they regulate their body temperature by internal mechanisms like panting, shivering, and sweating. Mammals have a fairly constant warm body temperature year-round, so we will normally stay the same unless we're sick. Some mammals cannot find enough food in the winter to maintain a high body temperature. God designed them to enter a state of dormancy. While in a dormant state, an organism will temporarily slow all metabolic activity and development in order to survive the winter months. Winter dormancy in mammals is called hibernation. Before hibernation, the mammal will eat more food to store extra fat for energy during hibernation. Do you guys wish that we could hibernate?
No.
You don't want to hibernate? You don't want to sleep for like 2 months? I think that'd be awesome, man.
No.
No.
I do.
Sleep a lot, not too good.
I would.
Oh, yes, because you work a lot, mister.
I feel like it. Before hibernation, the mammal will eat more food to store extra fat for energy during hibernation. Smaller mammals like badgers, chipmunks, and some bats and squirrels hibernate by reducing their body temperature close to the freezing point. Sounds kind of scary. If you pick up one of these one of these mammals while it is hibernating and shake it, it will not wake up. Much of the internal workings of the animal will shut down during this time, so the animal does not require food. Just enough of the metabolism is kept functioning to keep the heart and brain of the animal healthy so it can warm up and return to normal life in the spring. Although these small mammals remain in hibernation throughout the winter, they must awaken briefly every few weeks, all right? We're gonna talk about the vertebrae of the mammalia. One distinction so let's actually talk about that real fast. The hibernation. So if you try to wake up those animals, it probably would not work. Because they shut down most of their body, so the only thing that's really functioning is like their lungs, heart, and brain to keep them alive. They're like really asleep. Have you ever seen someone who's been so asleep, like you try doing everything and they don't wake up? Like I'm pretty sure if some of you guys fall asleep, it's really hard for you to wake up. But imagine them sometimes, right? Imagine people picking you up and doing everything, you can't wake up because you're not warmed up. It's hibernation. Okay, mammalian vertebrae. One distinction that all mammals have is the presence of a vertebral column or backbone, which we have. You can feel it on your back. The backbone is a series of vertebrae that cover the spinal cord, the thick bundle of nerves connecting the brain to the rest of the body. The vertebrae have aligned holes for the spinal cord to lie in. Most mammals have between 17 and 60 vertebrae. The vertebral column is similar in all mammals, but God modified it in some animals based on the way they move. The vertebral column is divided into 5 regions. The cervical vertebrae are in the neck. All mammals except sloth and manatees have 7 cervical vertebrae. Think about the difference in the size of the vertebrae of various animals. The long neck of the giraffe has vertebrae that are up to 11 inches long or 28 centimeters long. The entire body of the pygmy mouse is only 12 centimeters long, and its vertebrae are less than 3 millimeters long. Whales, bats, giraffes, and rodents all have 7 cervical vertebrae. The next region of the backbone includes the thoracic vertebrae. The ribs extend from the 12 to 15 thoracic vertebrae. The lumbar vertebrae are after the thoracic. There are usually 6 or 7 lumbar vertebrae, but there can be as many as 20. After the lumbar vertebrae are the sacral vertebrae. The sacral vertebrae, which are often fused together, support the pelvis. There are usually 3 to 5 sacral vertebrae, but sloths have 10. The last group of vertebrae is the caudal vertebrae. The number of caudal vertebrae depends on the size of the animal's tail. If the animal has no tail, it will only have a few caudal vertebrae. But if it has a very long tail, it may have many. The caudal vertebrae do not enclose the spinal cord and are generally less complicated and smaller than the other vertebrae. Let's keep going. All right, so we talked about like the smaller animals when they're hibernating, and we're gonna talk about bigger animals. When larger animals like bears hibernate, they experience only a small drop in body temperature, but their heart rate, breathing, and other body functions slow down enough that the energy they get from their fat keeps them warm and alive. Unlike small mammals, bears and other large hibernators can be easily aroused from hibernation, but large mammals can remain in the sleep state for the entire winter without having to awaken periodically as smaller animals do. So if you ever see a bear in hibernation, don't touch it because it can come after you still. Endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is kind of like armor, all right? Kind of like a shell. One characteristic found in all vertebrates, including mammals, is an endoskeleton or internal skeleton, which includes the vertebral column. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's exoskeleton. Exoskeleton is like a shell, like what crabs have. Endoskeleton is different. Almost all mammals have 4 limbs. The 4 limbs of mammals include such great variety as the dolphin's flipper, the bat's wing, and the mole's shovel-like paw. Though most mammalian hind limbs are similar, a few mammals do not have hind limbs. Carrying parents. Newborn mammals are immature compared to the young of other animals. The parents will protect the young as they grow. and develop and may teach them how to hunt and survive the dangers of the environment. Sorry. Mammal parents also provide food for their young. The mammary glands in female mammals are what give mammals the class name Mammalia. These special designed glands provide milk with a perfect balance of nutrients for the young mammals. All mammalian young begin their development after birth using this source of nourishment.
Mister, why are you laughing?
Because the dogs here want to go after these kids.
Huh?
Sorry. Okay, so we're called mammals because of our mammary glands. The females have mammary glands, so the female mammals have mammary glands which give milk for their young. And so they take care of their young. All right, a hairy situation. Another unique characteristic of mammals is hair. Hair is found on all mammals, although it is not always easily seen. Okay, do birds have hair?
No,
No.
What about a penguin?
they have feathers.
Oh.
So are birds mammals? Yes or no?
No, I think.
Nope. Birds are not mammals. They don't give birth to live young,
Eggs.
and they don't have
Mister,
mammary glands, and they don't have hair. Yes, Joseph.
they put eggs. No, that's why they're not mammals.
Yeah, birds lay
The
eggs.
bats is the only animal that fly that is alive.
Interesting. I did not know that. Okay. Hair is
There was
found-
some plastic.
No, I'm serious. I didn't know that. Hair is
Hmm.
found on all mammals, although it is not always easily seen. Elephants have bristle-like hairs and tufts on their body. Dolphins have hair only as juveniles or young. Some mammals have two layers of hair. The top layer is called the guard hair. Its stiff structure provides shape to the animal's coat. The under hair is usually soft and gives warmth. The hair on mammals grow the same way as your hair. It is made up of non-living cells from hair follicles in the skin. Keratin is the protein that gives hair its stiffness. The more keratin in a cell, the more rigid it will be. The bumps on many whales' skin are actually hair follicles that have stopped producing hair as the whale ages. All right, so hair has many functions. A fur coat helps provide insulation, or like what keeps them warm. On some mammals, the hair is so dense that water cannot penetrate to the skin. This helps mammals stay warm in cold climates or chilly waters. Another advantage that hair may provide is camouflage, the ability to hide. Whether it is the spots on a leopard or a young deer or the changing hair color of the Arctic fox and snowshoe hare, camouflaged animals are better able to blend in their environments. So they can hide. Okay. And are harder to see. This can help them either sneak up on their prey or hide from predators. Some hair and hair cells have very unique functions. The whiskers on dogs, cats, walruses, and other mammals are specialized hair structures called vibrissae, surrounded by extra nerve endings that make them very sensitive. Whiskers help animals detect objects that they may not be able to see. Other hair cells with large amounts of keratin produce structures such as hooves, claws, nails, and horns. So look at your nails right here. They're kind of hard, right? They grow the same way your hair does. Exact same way your hair does. We're going to talk about our teeth. A tooth collection. Most mammals have teeth found in sockets in their jaws. Who's ever had their tooth removed?
Me.
Or like these back teeth right here? In the very, very back? Have you ever had those removed yet? I don't think they've come into you guys. Called the wisdom teeth. Well, sometimes you have to get those removed. And when you remove it, there's like an empty space, like an empty hole. And that's called a socket. That's what they're talking about. There are 3 main types of teeth that mammals may have. Incisors are found at the fronts of the teeth and are used for cutting or biting. Canines are long pointed teeth found toward the front of the mouth and are used for tearing. Molars are flat teeth found toward the back of the mouth for grinding. Often, a scientist can study the teeth of a mammal to determine what kind of food it eats. Carnivores, or animals that eat primarily meat, like lions and tigers, usually have large canines for tearing flesh, which they swallow whole. Most herbivores, animals that eat plants, like deer, have sharp incisors to bite off vegetation and molars to grind it. Some mammals are omnivores and eat both vegetation and meat. We'll talk about that. But the numbat has 52 teeth, more than any other mammal. Anteaters have no teeth at all. Okay, so some animals are omnivores, which they eat both vegetation and meat. A bear will feed on berries or other plant parts when they're available, but will otherwise eat meat. So it has sharp canines for meat eating and molars for grinding plant material. Although teeth can hint at what an animal eats, examining teeth cannot replace a proper study of an animal's diet. Some herbivores have carnivore-like teeth and vice versa. Now let's look at these teeth right here, okay? So we have an herbivore, like a beaver. You guys know what a beaver is? Come on, you guys know what a beaver is?
Yes.
Yes.
So look at its incisors. Their incisors are constantly growing. So, because they're always chewing on bark and stuff like that. And then we have an omnivore, like a bear, because they eat both. They have canines, incisors, and the molars, which they use for grinding the plant material, and these canines for tearing flesh. And then we have a cat, which has a lot more like canines, because they tear stuff. They tear the meat, stuff like that. Which one do you think we are?
Let me see. I think that I don't know. The cat?
I would say we're more omnivores because we eat plants. We have molars. These right here. This is for grinding.
Yes.
And we have the sharp teeth up front too. We don't have big canines like they do, but we have teeth that we use for both. That's what I think. I don't know. That's what it looks like. Are those 3? Then we're going to talk. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't finish that part, actually. Let's go back and finish this. Mammals on the go. God has designed mammals to lead an active lifestyle. Mammals must find or capture enough food to stay warm and provide nutrients for their body. Some mammals have to escape from predators or move from place to place when food and water become scarce. All this moving around creates a high demand for oxygen. To provide the necessary oxygen for these activities, God has designed mammals with extremely efficient circulatory and respiratory systems that work closely together. Hearty circulation. Mammals have a 4-chambered heart similar to that of man. This 4-chamber design gives separate circulation to and from the lungs and to and from the rest of the body, ensuring that only blood rich in oxygen is sent to the body. Now, did you guys learn about this in health class 2 years ago?
I don't remember too much.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
We have like the ventricles, the vena cava, superior vena cava, atriums.
They show us that, but I don't remember.
Remember? Okay. Probably learn more about it later. Respiration. To help meet the demand for oxygen needed to maintain their high body temperature, the lungs of mammals are larger in relation to their body size than those of cold-blooded animals?
Mister,
Yes, Joseph.
we're gonna have. This is not about the class. It's just a question that before all this happens. No wait. Before after all this happens, we're
Yeah.
gonna have youth group.
Oh, we'll talk later, okay?
Okay.
To help meet the demand for oxygen needed to maintain their high body temperature, the lungs of mammals are larger in relation to their body size than those of cold-blooded animals. Also, mammals are the only animals that have a diaphragm. The contraction of the diaphragm increases the overall volume of the thoracic cavity and draws air into the lungs. When the diaphragm relaxes, it decreases the thoracic cavity's volume and forces out the used air. Actually, I think, yeah, we're almost done. Out the used air. Most mammals breathe through their noses or mouths, but whales and dolphins breathe through specially designed blowholes on top of their heads. All right, is man a mammal? Actually, all right, you guys see this right here? This right here, we're gonna do something like this, all right? But I'm gonna send you a link to a video on what to do, okay?
Okay.
You guys hear those dogs?
Yeah.
Those dogs are crazy, man. All right. Is man a mammal? Anderson, I want you to read this section right here.
What is that?
Is man a mammal? I want you to read that.
In man, is man a mammal? That
Yeah.
although man has the physical characteristic of a mammal and was created on the same day as the land animal. Genesis 1:24-26. He is unique and separate from animals, including mammals. Man is a special creation because, unlike animals, he was created in the image of God.
Very good. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the flesh of sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So yeah, we are kind of like mammals, but we're different. We've been called to be different.
Wanna read?
Huh?
I want to read.
Okay, read this right here.
When God gave man the command to rule, have domination over the animals, man was given the responsibility to wisely use mammals and other animals for his benefit. Man is accountable for his decisions. His moral being, man is more than a physical body. He has a soul and will be live somewhere forever. After the fall, it became necessary for men to use animals as beasts of burden and to kill them for clothing and sacrifice. That's all. Or I continue reading.
Here, I'll finish it for you because we have to be getting done.
The Bible tells us that after the flood, the relationship between animals and men changed when God placed the fear of man into animals. It was also at this time that God told man that he can eat meat. Man has used mammals for protection, service, and companionship. Other mammals provide meats such as beef, mutton, and pork. Because of the physical similarities between man and mammals, mammals are also useful in our study of the human body and the development of new medicines. God has provided that He will one day restore the original perfect relationships that He created, and that there will again be harmony through nature. Isaiah 11:6-9.
All right, very good. Okay, so here's what you guys are going to have to do. We don't have much time because my thing is going to run out. This is section review 6.1. You're going to have to do that, and 6.2. We didn't have time to do 6.2 today, but you have to do 6.2. 6.1 and 6.2. I'm going to send you a link of the project that you have to do this week. If you haven't finished your project from last week,
Cannot hear,
huh?
Mr. I cannot hear good.
Okay, so section 6.1 and 6.2, you have to do both, okay?
Okay.
Okay, fine.
And then I'm going to send you a link for a project. It's going to be this one right here, I believe. And it's going to teach you how to make a lung, the model of a lung, and that's what you're going to do. And so
Okay.
I'll send copies for those who don't have copies. And
Yes.
just Samuel and Caleb, you don't have copies, right?
Yes.
Diosa.
No, Diosa has copies,
I
right?
have.
And how
okay.
did she have, Mister?
What?
How did she have if you